reason being it'll block the view of the person behind you. Guys, don't get in, don't worry. Bernie is coming outside to address the overflow crowd as well. That will not go outside. I can tell you that definitively.
Alright, you both level on to the next fine. That way I know I've got you.
Dude, roads are socialist. Roads are socialist and so are fire departments. What? Dude, you're trolling, man. Healthcare for all is not a bad thing. Any more than fire departments. Oh my goodness.
I'm fine. It's only.
Is something very unusual in American politics. We're telling the truth. And the truth is that if we are going to create an economy that works for all of us and not just the 1% system in which billionaires are buying elections, power to change that, and together we will change that. We are living in a nation today in which we have a rigged economy. And a rigged economy means that we have more income and wealth inequality than any other major country on earth. It is worse today than at any time since 1928, and we are going to change that too. The truth is that if we don't turn around this economy, your generation, for the first time in the modern history of America, will have a lower standard of living than your parents. Together, we will not allow the American dream to die. What this campaign is about is understanding that the United States of America today is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. But most people don't know that because almost all of the major country on earth that does not guarantee paid family and medical leave. Why is it that millions of people who have gone to college and graduated college are leaving school with $30,000, $50,000, $70,000 in debt? In my view, in the year 2016, when we talk about public education, it is not good enough to talk about first grade through 12th grade. We will make public colleges and universities tuition free. In school, yes, they will be able to make it into the middle class. They will be able to get a college education. This campaign is about listening to 79 cents on the dollar. And I know every man here will stand with the women in the fight for pay equity. Is rejecting Republican family values that tell every woman in Indiana and every woman in America that she does not have the right to control her own body. Rejecting so-called Republican family values when they tell us that our gay brothers and sisters do not have This campaign is listening to working people. Minimum wage to a living wage, $15 an hour. Is listening to scientists and what the scientists, and I hope many of you will become the scientists of the future. What the scientists are telling us unequivocally is that climate change is real. Climate change is caused by human activity. And climate change is already doing devastating harm throughout our country and throughout this planet. We have a moral responsibility to make certain that the planet is habitable. Is that we have got to tell the fossil fuel industry that the future of this planet is more important than their short-term profits. One of the crises that we are going to have to deal with in the coming years is the fight for clean drinking water. That we have got to end fracking in the United States. The history of our country with regard to how change takes place, real change, is not a complicated history. Change, real change, always takes place from the bottom on up, never from the top on down. And what this campaign is about is an understanding that no person, no president, not Bernie Sanders or anybody else, can do it alone. The reason for that is that the powers that be, the people who control our economy, our political life, who control the media, are so powerful that the only way we bring real change is when millions of Americans stand up and say loudly and clearly, enough is enough. In this great country, our infrastructure, our water systems, wastewater plants, roads, and bridges are falling apart? Why are we not reinvesting in rebuilding our infrastructure and creating millions of good jobs? And people are asking, why is it that we have trillions of dollars to invest in a war in Iraq that we never should have gotten into? Money to invest in our inner cities where poverty and unemployment is rampant. People are asking, they're asking why in this great country we remain the only nation without health care for all, why we have the highest rate of childhood poverty at the same time as we're seeing a proliferation of millionaires and billionaires. Here is the point that I want to make. What the establishment tries to tell you over and over again in a million different ways is that real change, substantive change, isn't possible, it can't happen. We cannot end the disgrace of having more people in jail than any other country. We cannot end the fact that so many of our people sleep out on the streets, that elderly people are living in embarrassing poverty. We can't lead the world in addressing the crisis of climate change. We cannot create free tuition in public colleges and universities. These ideas are too big. But let me tell you, they are not too big. We do not allow the Donald Trumps of the world to divide us up. To divide us up between Mexican Americans or Muslims or gays or whoever we may be, when we stand together. Asian American, as Native American, as gay and straight, male and female. We stand together and have the courage to have a vision for the future of this country. When we stand together and have the courage to tell the 1% that they cannot have it all. When we stand together and are prepared to fight for what we believe in, there is nothing, nothing, nothing we cannot accomplish. Transforming America. Making certain that every American understands that if they are prepared to stand up and fight and get involved in the political process, every one of you are enormously powerful people. We win. That's right. When turnout is low, we lose. Let us next Tuesday have the highest voter turnout for a Democratic primary in the history of the state of Illinois.
Was your mom?
Here is the radical idea. At a time when we have massive levels of income and wealth inequality, at a time when our people work the longest hours of any people in the industrialized world, at a time when we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth, together, we are going to create an economy that works for all of us, not just the 1%. Now, if we were a poor country, and there are, God knows, too many impoverished countries all over the world, we would have a certain type of discussion. And the discussion would be, sure, we want great healthcare, sure, we want great education, sure, we want a great infrastructure, but we're a poor country. We just can't afford to do that. Brothers and sisters, we are not a poor country. We're the richest country in the history of the world. But nobody knows that because all of the wealth and income, or almost all of it, is going to the people on top. Now, that means that we got to take a hard look at what goes on in America today. Question: any psychologists here? Any psychologists? There we go. Okay. Every psychologist who has studied the issue will tell you that the most important years of the human being's development are 0 through 4. Is that right? All right. That is when we develop intellectually and when we develop emotionally. Think for a moment. Mom is out working, dad's out working. Who's taking care of the kids? Well, all over this country, mom and dad are desperately trying to find quality, affordable child care, and in many cases they can't.
Yeah, that's why we're here, folks.
Turns out that there are child care workers, people who have local police department reform. I was a mayor for 8 years in Burlington, Vermont, and I worked very hard with my local police department, and I worked hard with police officers and organizations all over the country. Truth is that the overwhelming majority of police officers in this country are honest, hardworking, and doing a very difficult job. But, as in the case of any kind of public official, when a police officer breaks the law, that officer must be held accountable. We have got to demilitarize our local police departments. We have got to make police departments look like the diversity of the communities they serve. We have got to end private corporate ownership of jails and detention centers. It is a very perverse incentive to enable private corporations to make money by jailing fellow Americans. So we're going to end that. And the other thing that we have got to do, and this is a bit controversial, but we have got to take a hard look at the so-called war on drugs. For over the last 30 years, millions of Americans have received police records for possession of marijuana, and today, Under the Federal Controlled Substance Act, marijuana is listed as a Schedule I drug right next to heroin. How are you going to pay for it? Well, let me tell you exactly how we're going to pay for it. 2009, the United States Congress bailed out Wall Street. I believe that now, with it is...
Of course.
You see that road under your feet? Campus? But guess what? Let me talk to you about having a
I'll tell you what, that guy did more stuff. That's the way I always bring it up.